A lot of the horrible habits that are keeping people broke these days are actually very much normalized. Most people do them on a daily basis and almost nobody questions them, which is exactly why they are so dangerous. So today, we're going to be ranking the 10 normalized habits that are actually keeping you broke in 2026. Without further ado, let's get right into it with number 1. The small purchases that cost you $1 to $10. For an example, let's just talk about the most normalized habit, running to 7-Eleven or running to Target to buy a can of Monster or an energy drink. Now, depending on where you go, if you go to Walmart or Target, it'll be cheaper. If you go to 7-Eleven, you're essentially wasting your money. But let's just say you run to 7-Eleven because it's the more common and more convenient way to get your energy drink. Let's just say your can of Monster with taxes is $4. That might be a little bit lenient, but whatever. $4 for one can of Monster. Let's just say you get that 4 times a week. 4 times 4, that's going to be $16 every week. 16 times 4, that's going to be $64 a month. $64 a month times 12, $768. That is almost $1,000 spent on energy drink. The smallest of spendings accumulated to almost $1,000 a year. That is insane. If you took the same amount of money and contributed it to an investment account and you invest for the next 30 years, your ending portfolio would have been $144,000. You could have had 6 figures. That is the opportunity cost of your smallest purchase every single day, accumulated for the next 30 years. And with that said, as in terms of the ranking, I would say it's not the worst habit in the world. As long as you have money and you're not in debt, buying BS small purchases is not too bad, but you don't have to. Save your money, buy it in bulk. It's just the fact that you could be saving your money that kind of icks me a little bit. You could just run to Costco tomorrow and buy your Monsters can in bulk. And boom, you don't have to run to your local 7-Eleven for the next month or 2. That will save you the extra cost per can every single time you buy it, and also the gas as well. And the effort that it takes for you to get there and to buy the thing and then to go away. And because of all that, I'm going to be placing it at C tier. Actually, I'll change to okay. It's okay. As long as you're not in debt, it's okay. Again, it's not the worst habit in the world. It's more about the instant gratification that you're giving yourself every single time that you run to your local 7-Eleven for the convenience or whatever. And as a result, it could contribute to other bad habits in your life that could be potentially worse for your finances. And with that said, that leads me to the next normalized habit. Urgency spending, aka you see an ad and you feel like you have to buy it, especially on Amazon. Let's just say you're on Amazon and you're browsing through it, you're scrolling through it, and you see this super cool lava lamp that's on sale for 40% off. Now, you've never felt the need to get it, but all of a sudden you see that 40% off, you're like, wow, I need to get this. It's such a good deal. I'll be saving so much money and my room will be so much cooler because of it. And so you go ahead and you make that purchase for $30. It arrives, you're so excited, you unbox the box, you put it in your room is now 10 times cooler, and 1 or 2 weeks later, you never use it again. This is the problem with deals. They are essentially another form of an ad. And that's scary because most people, they don't seem to understand that. They can't resist themselves. Every time that they see a good deal, it triggers an urgency reaction in their head that makes them feel like they need that item. And so they go ahead and they make that purchase and they waste their money. Because of that, I'm going to be putting this at A tier. And it's because of the fact that a lot of the spendings on Amazon, it can add up to a lot of money. You may think that you all of a sudden need that shiny new lava lamp just because it's on sale now, but in reality, you don't. And so the next time you see a shiny discount on Amazon, ask yourself these questions first. Number 1, do I need this item? If the answer is yes, then go ahead and answer the second question. If I hadn't seen this deal just now, would I have still otherwise thought to buy this item out of necessity? If the answer is yes, then go ahead, make that purchase. If it's no, please reconsider your purchase. And with that said, that leads me to the next topic. Mindless consumerism. Now, I'm going to put this at B tier. It depends on how bad your mindless consumerism is. But before we dive into it, let's first talk about what it is. Mindless consumerism is the concept where you see a shiny ad or you see a shiny promotion for a certain item and you just go ahead and you make that purchase. You never stop to think before you make that purchase. You never question yourself and be like, why am I buying this? What's the point? Is this going to give me any value in my day-to-day life? Is this an actual need purchase or is this something I want? And believe it or not, a lot of Americans have the same exact problem where they just mindlessly make purchases. And a good example of this would be, let's just say you go to the mall tomorrow with your significant other or your family, and you go into a clothing shop and you see a pair of pants that you like that costs $60. You would have never thought to buy it at home. But now, since you're at the store, you see it, it looks nice, it looks good on you, it makes you look good, it makes you feel good, you're gonna buy it. And then you go ahead and you make that purchase, you bring it home, you wear it once for the next 2 months. Your closet is already almost full, basically filled. You just simply added one more to your 1,000 pair of pants collection. That is what I call mindless consumerism, is when you buy something and you don't really use it. Or you just buy something and you just never thought about it. You never thought how much value it would add to your life. And that's basically the bulk of purchases that people make. They don't need half of the stuff that they buy. For an example, a mouse. If you buy a good and reliable mouse, it could last you for the next 3 or 5 years. And it doesn't even need to cost that much. This mouse was like $20 on sale. And that's basically all you need. I've seen fancy mouse that cost like $100 that adds some fancy feature, like maybe like a third button or circular scrolling thingy majingy that replaces this. I don't even get it, but it costs $100. That's like 4 times more than my mouse. 5 times more, my bad. The point is that people see those type of mouses, they see the fancy features, and they are enticed to buy it. And then they go ahead and buy it, and then they bring it home, and I could almost guarantee you that they use half of the feature on that mouse. Unless they are like a professional coder or editor or gamer or something. So the next time you're at the shop and you see a fancy gadget, first stand there and think to yourself, do you really need this? And if you do, then is there a less expensive version of this that you can buy? Because most of the time you don't need the expensive version. You just need the version that works. And most of the time, the version that works is going to give you the same functionality as the pricey version. And with that said, next up, we got mistaking access for ownership. And more specifically, buy now and pay later services, aka Klarna. And this one is definitely going to S tier. Now, these days, I've seen purchases that cost like less than $50 that has buy now, pay later programs. It makes me feel like as a society, we're all going to a dystopia where we're all not going to own a single thing except for the government and the higher ups. That makes me feel so scared and sad. And it simply just go back to instant gratification, aka when people see a shiny item, even when they can't afford it, the store still provide a service for those very specific people to be able to afford it. With interest rates, of course. And that triggers people's instant gratification senses. It makes people want to get that item right now because they can afford the payments. But in reality, they can't even afford the item. Just because your iPhone now costs $50 a month doesn't mean that it doesn't add up to $1,000 plus. It's still $1,000 plus. You're just paying it for the next 2-3 years. It's like a car now. In summary, I hate it. If you can't afford the item, just don't buy it. Save up cash to buy it full and just stay away from loans. Stay away from Klarna. Stay away from adding payments to your monthly payments. Don't do it. Just run away. Run the opposite direction. And with that said, next up, we got mistaking consumption as progress. Now, this one is going to definitely go into A tier. Essentially what it is when people trick themselves into thinking that they're making progress on a certain skill or a certain business that they're pursuing just because they bought themselves a course or just because they bought themselves that fancy tool instead of actually actively putting progress and putting work into building the skill or building the business. And yes, I can get it. You trigger a sense of dopamine whenever you buy yourself a fancy course or whenever you buy yourself that fancy gear, and it makes you feel like I just did something. When in reality, you haven't. You haven't done a single piece of work towards your actual goal. For an example, let's just say you want to create a YouTube channel and you just bought yourself a fancy course on how to create the best videos possible. Would you say that that is more valuable, or simply creating 10 videos for the next month and then you analyze which video did better and why which video did better and everything else that comes with that? Which one would you say is more valuable? Spoiler alert, it's the latter. The actual work will always be more valuable. And the crazy thing is that it's free, or at least it's a lot cheaper than buying the course or buying the fancy tools. And you know what the other crazy thing is that it doesn't trigger pointless and fake dopamine. It triggers actual dopamine from actual work. Next up, we got financial procrastination. It's the idea where people would tell themselves, I'll deal with this later, whenever they're faced with a financial problem or any type of problem in real life in general. And just like in a lot of other fields in their life, this could be detrimental in their lives if they allow it to be. For an example, let's just say when you have credit card debt and you tell yourself, I'll deal with this later. I'll just go make more money right now. And you know, that interest rate, don't worry about that. I'll just figure out a way to do balance transfer. As a result, the root of the problem never gets fixed. The actual problem never gets fixed. Nothing is done. The bad habits, it just continue to go on and on. Which is the exact reason why this is going to go into S tier. Financial procrastination, or any type of procrastination in real life, it just holds you back. Especially the opportunity cost to the procrastination is immense. You could be achieving so much more financially if you just deal with your problems right now. If you just get rid of your credit card debt right now. If you just start investing right now. So please, run towards your problem. Confront it. Deal with it. And get it done. Or just don't. And just keep yourself broke. It is your life after all. It's up to you. Next up, we got the all or nothing mentality. This is definitely gonna go into S tier. Financially, this is not it. It's definitely not it. And the reason why it's in S tier is because if you allow it to be, it definitely can ruin your life. And it's the idea where people think that they don't deserve to live a rich life. People think that they don't deserve to invest just because they don't have the income to invest. And that is why this mentality is poison. You can always invest, even if you're making minimum wage. I'm making minimum wage and I'm investing into my Roth IRA and I'm trying to max it out this year. If I can do that, so can you. There's no shame in making low income, but there should be shame in having credit card debt, especially when all of the credit card debt was self-inflicted. And it is simply another form of procrastination. People just wait to deal with their problems later because when they have more income, they can easier deal with their problems. Just deal with it now. Or just start building your future now. Start investing now. You can literally put $10 into your Roth IRA tomorrow, and that's still a lot better than putting $0. There's no shame in that. Progress is progress. Please, anything is better than $0. So just start now, before you waste the next couple of years of your life just waiting a promotion or just waiting for the perfect time to start investing. The best time to do it is right now. Next up, we got arrival syndrome. This one, also S tier. It's very similar to the previous one, and it's the concept where people financially or in their life in general, they would wait for something to happen and then they'll do it. They would wait for the perfect scenario to happen and then they'll start working on their problems. Then they'll start building their future. For an example, let's just say a person is unhappy with their life right now. They're not making as much money as they want to be. And they're going to wait until they get that actual job that they have always dreamt of, or that actual promotion that they've always dreamt of. And then they'll start doing something with their life. And then they'll be happy. It's the idea where people believe that they don't deserve happiness. People believe that they don't deserve a bright future simply because they don't like the circumstance that they're in right now. And it doesn't have to be a job. It could also be your household. Let's just say you live at an apartment that you absolutely hate. And you just tell yourself, once I move out, once I get a better apartment, I'll start being happy. I'll start investing into my Roth IRA because right now that takes too much energy. I don't deserve it. This is all type of excuse for the same arrival syndrome, the same psychological problem. And believe me, it's holding you back. Just because you're not in the perfect circumstances right now doesn't mean that you can't make more progress towards your future. Doesn't mean that you can't be happy. Again, the perfect time to start is right now. So start building your future, or start being happy. Start allowing yourself to be happy at least. Next up, we got rich tomorrow syndrome. This, again, is going to be an S tier. And it's basically the naive concept where one believes that their future success is inevitable. And so they allow themselves to indulge. They allow themselves to doom spend. They allow themselves to buy luxury clothes just because, they're going to end up becoming a millionaire in 10 years because they know it. They believe it in their heart. There's pros and cons to this. There is good in that confidence, but the con is that it could end up destroying your finances. There's always that chance of your business failing. What are you going to do then? Yes, I understand that you're allowing yourself to overspend right now because you believe that you're going to become successful in 10 years. But then there's always that chance of your business failing. It's more likely that your business will fail than you actually succeeding. So what will you do in that worst case scenario? Are you now going to be in credit card debt and with no actual money to pay it off? Are you now going to have kids that you're going to have to take care of with credit card debt that you built up for yourself just because of your delusions from the past? I would say that the delusion provides a good sense of confidence, but at the end of the day, it's still a delusion. It could guide you towards a dark path, aka credit card debt. So I believe that the best way to control this delusion is to be realistic about it, at least somewhat realistic. Yes, you're confident. Yes, you're delusional. You believe that you're going to succeed in 10 years. But please, prepare financially at least for the worst case scenario where your dreams fall apart, where your business fail. I don't want your life to be ruined just because your dreams is now gone. The fact is that not everybody's dreams come true. But you can still have a life. You can still be happy even if your dreams don't come true. At least I hope that for you. So yes, be delusional, work hard, but also be realistic, at least financially. Prepare for the worst case scenario. At least build an emergency fund for yourself, please. And lastly, we got inherited spending habits. This is gonna go in B tier. It honestly depends on your family's financial history. Let's just say it was horrific and your family members were gambling every single day and they are in immense credit card debt. Your best bet is please don't be like those people. Don't follow their advice. Do your own research and just create your own path, please. Yes, you might respect your dad or your mom in terms of like how they appear to be, how strong they are, how hardworking they are, but they're not right on everything. For an example, my dad lost a lot of money in the stock market in 2008. And because of that, my parents have always been traumatized from buying stocks and investing in general. My mom tells me that investing in stocks is like basically gambling. Just treat that money as gambling. Yes, gambling at casinos and gambling in day trading and gambling in meme coin crypto is bad. But investing into index fund, investing into diversified portfolios is never ever bad. Well, there are going to be bad market times, but in the long run, at least historically, it will be a very wise financial decision for you. Don't let your parents talk you out of that. Just because your parents hate investing doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing to do. Do your own financial research. Become financially literate for yourself and by yourself, especially if your family had a bad history with their finances. And with that said, if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more investing and financial content just like this one. And be sure to let me know down in the comment section down below, which normalized habit is the worst in your opinion. And lastly, I think you should watch this next video on the 10 habits that are keeping you broke right now. And with all of that said, I wish you the very best in your financial journey. Anyways, that's about it. Bye.